In a moment, you're going to discover why you will lose 47% of your net worth over the next 2 years because of this chart. My name is Don Fawcett, and I'm one of the founders of Sunbiz Capital, a professional real estate investment company located in Florida. I've been a full-time investor since 2003 and have completed over 312 deals, both residential and commercial. I make my living from finding great deals, fixing them up, and selling them, making large profits in the process. In my office, I have hundreds of manila folders from our completed deals. My competitive advantage is my ability to leverage databases that not many people know about. This is how I find high equity deals that are not listed on the MLS and have no competition. Now that you know a little bit about what I do, I have a question for you. Are you getting 10% or more yield from your CDs, stocks, savings accounts, IRAs, pension plans, or other investments? If the answer is no, and I'm pretty sure that it is, please pay very special attention because the following information could make you thousands of dollars in the coming years simply by increasing the yield on the same money you're investing now. I'd like to spend the next few minutes talking to you about the way you can control your investments and safely make them grow 3, 4, even 5 times your current rate. Yes, I know this sounds too good to be true, but it isn't. What I'm going to share with you is very common in real estate circles and has been going on under the radar, right under your nose in every city in America. Smart people have been utilizing this investment for years. In fact, there have been entire companies built around this investment, and those that have been using it properly have seen growth in huge proportions. This is a very safe investment that produces high yields and at the same time provides security and liquidity. So let me ask you a question. Can you afford not to control your own investments? Does it really make sense to let a bank run your investments for you? They'd like you to believe that it does. They'd like you to believe that it does. Well, there is an alternative for you to consider, and that alternative is private mortgage loans. You can loan money secured by a mortgage that will not only give you the safety you want, but will also give you the high yields we've discussed. Security of your investments is becoming more and more important these days, especially with the huge losses experienced by many stock market investors during the last market crash. If you're not aware, the S&P 500 declined 47.7% from 2007 to 2009. Check out the stock market cycle on this chart. The stock market crashes every time the cycle reaches a peak, which also is when the price-earnings ratio climbs greater than 25%. You see where the peak was in 2007 and the bottom of 2009? That's a drop in 47.7%. And look at where we're at now. The mountain is even greater, right? We've reached an even higher peak, and we're headed for an even deeper drop, which is going to be even more than 47% this time, because the market always corrects itself and goes back to the bottom. And right now is where we are headed. Even the guy that considered the most intelligent investor of all time, Warren Buffett, is considered the most intelligent investor of all time, lost 51% of his holdings from 2007 to 2009. What does this mean for you? Buying and holding stocks or mutual funds is a very bad strategy, especially right now. As you know, real estate is a great alternative to the risk that is associated with the stock market investing and other forms of investments that carry similar risks. This means that you have a solid, real asset backing up your investment, unlike stocks, which are simply paper investments. The collapse in high-tech stocks was the first hit to the markets. followed by the outrageous terror assaults on our nation. In addition, we had the fall of energy giant Enron and the lack of honesty in many of the firms that audit financial statements of publicly traded companies. Then there was a subprime meltdown. Now we're about to see the biggest stock market crash of all time. This is going to shock the nation once again. And if you have money in the market right now, I highly suggest that you need to take action and get it out, or you're going to lose 47% of your net worth. The stock market crashed in the dot-com boom, again in the subprime meltdown, and is going to crash again over the next 1 to 2 years. It's very clear that that's going to happen by this chart. It happens every time the PE ratio gets over 25%, and we are now over 27%. It's a very risky position to be in. In the midst of all this turmoil, the demand on housing in this country has grown tremendously. The market is very hot right now. Houses are selling very quickly. In fact, more and more people are reaching out at the great American dream of owning their own home than ever before. And if there was ever a perfect time to consider investing in private mortgage loans, that time is upon us. So many people have lost so much money in the stock market that both scared and wise money is being withdrawn from the stock market, looking for a more predictable and controllable investment. As the stock markets have struggled, real estate has maintained a slow and steady appreciation, despite the ups and downs of Wall Street. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the investment vehicle that provides more safety and predictability, as well as control, is real estate. Now, let's discuss both the pros and cons of loaning on real estate. First, let's clarify what kind of loans. I'm not talking about those high loan-to-value loans that banks and savings and loans make and got into trouble over a few years back. What we're dealing with here are very low loan-to-value loans, since all properties are acquired at wholesale. By that I mean no higher than 70% of the value of the property securing the loan. This means you have 30% equity cushion in the property. So let me use an example to show you what I mean. A house appraises for, say, $100,000. Using this formula, you wouldn't make a loan for higher than $70,000. That's a 70% loan to value. Now, it's obvious why this is a much safer approach than most lending institutions. Banks get into trouble because they make loans at 90, 95, even 100% loan-to-value ratios. If this private mortgage loan were for the period of 36 months, you would be paid interest only, monthly, quarterly, or at maturity. For example, the return on the initial investment of $70,000 when paid monthly would be $91,000, or a difference of $21,000 in investment income profit. You also have the option of letting your interest accrue. And the benefit of letting your interest accrue is your principal grows and you start earning interest not only on your principal, but also on your accrued interest as well. So at the start of year 2, you would have $77,000 working for you instead of your initial investment. That means your interest for year 2 is now $7,700 instead of $7,000. See how powerful that is? Letting your investment accrue is only an option, not a requirement. If you need the interest for cash flow or living expenses, you can take monthly or quarterly interest payments, and that's a great way to increase your fixed income during retirement years. Private mortgage investments can literally provide for your retirement income if you get started now. So let's look at a couple of accruing interest examples. If you invested that same $70,000 for 5 years, it would turn into $112,735. That's $42,735 in profit, a 61% return on your investment. Where else can you get that type of return safely? If you invested that same $70,000 for 10 years, it would turn into $181,562, a profit of $111,562. That's a 159% return on investment. Now, obviously, these numbers are for illustrative purposes only, and this short video is for educational purposes only, but you can imagine what the same returns would look like if you put in $500,000 or $1 million. $1 million would turn into $2.5 million over 10 years. Do you see how powerful this is? Yes, absolutely. Now, if you were to keep that same $70,000 in the stock market, it would probably go down to $35,000 over the next 2 years, and you would then need to wait for what seems like forever just for it to grow back to your starting principal amount. That just doesn't make sense to me. You now know where the stock market is headed. Take control of your financial future and make the right decision for your family and your retirement. Don't let another stock market crash take your money again. And putting it in a certificate of deposit, a CD, isn't much better either, because CDs right now aren't even earning 1%. You're going to lose money if based on inflation. That's almost as bad as letting your cash sit in a savings account. You're actually losing money because it's not even keeping up with inflation. Okay, let's get back to how your private mortgage investment is safe and secure. You'll get a lien against the property at 70% loan to value or less. That means there is always at least 30% equity in the property. The worst case scenario is you get the property back and sell it at a fire sale at 80% of the value. You'll get your entire investment back and more. You are the bank. You are in control. It'd be really cool to be your own bank, wouldn't it? I mean, why let the banks earn all the interest income when it can be going to you or in your retirement account? Sunbiz Capital handles all the details. We believe that unless you're highly skilled in real estate matters, you should invest with a professional. And Sunbiz Capital will not only place the funds for you, our attorney will draft the proper documentation to protect your interests, which includes a promissory note signed at the time of investment by Sunbiz Capital, a recorded first mortgage, and an insurance policy naming you as first mortgagee. Now, all of this costs you nothing. We pay for all the costs. Now, if you make a $50,000 loan, you send her a check or a wire for $50,000 to the closing attorney, and you get a mortgage for $50,000 in the items I've mentioned before. Do you need to collect the payments? Absolutely not. We work with a loan servicing company that sends your payments to you when due, or deposit it into your IRA account if you're investing in your IRA account. This can and will be a hassle-free investment for you. Is it a long-term investment? No, it can be almost any term you want. You're the boss. Usually our private investors want a 36-month term or less, but some want it longer so they can make more income. You can pick a term that suits your strategy for your investment. This investment is interest only for 36 months or longer. It's your money and it's your choice. Of course, Sunbiz Capital is going to come to you with a term that suits your needs. So let's go over a couple of questions. Question: what if you want to liquidate? If you want out, it will take 30 days to replace your income. Since your interest rate it will be 10%, you will take no discount when you cash out. Remember, you as a lender won't lend more than 70% loan to value regardless. You're making a safe loan in all cases. In addition, there are no commissions or sales loads taken out of your investment dollars, and we do not charge any early withdrawal fee, as do many banks. However, you really shouldn't make mortgage loans if you feel that you will need to liquidate shortly. But the option is always available. Just call me and we'll handle all the details. You should never make a loan without a 30% safety net. If you don't violate that rule, you will always come out a winner. So what are my options? In comparison, mortgages could be more hands-off than mutual funds or stocks or other kinds of non-participation investments. Your money will grow 2, 3, or maybe even 4 times faster than your current investments. In addition, you maintain control. It's a fixed rate return of 10%. So unlike mutual funds, stocks, and CDs, you can rely on consistent cash flow from your private mortgage investments. Now, if you follow some simple guidelines when making loans, your risks will be minimal at best. Making real estate loans is an approved and widely accepted use of IRAs and pension plans. Think of it. Now you can not only loan out money that has been unavailable for your use, but you can make it grow rapidly, tax deferred. Since Uncle Sam isn't taking a bite out of your profits until you draw out the money, your money is left in the account to compound and grow. The results are staggering. You will be receiving interest on interest on interest, and it's all legal and approved by the IRS. In addition, Sunbiz Capital can direct you to a securities entity which would enable you to earn investment income tax-free through the use of a self-directed Roth IRA. Also, if you have a 401k from a past or current job, we can show you how you can convert this into a truly self-directed IRA where you can invest in private mortgage loans at 10% fixed return. Your financial advisor or 401k representative may say you have a self-directed account, but the catch is you can only choose the mutual funds or investments that they provide, which are very volatile and loaded with fees that take your gains. All of those 401ks are headed for a 50% decline as well over the next 2 years. And the smartest thing you can do now is convert it to a truly self-directed IRA. At least it will put your holdings in a cash position and protected from the pending stock market crash. We've covered a lot in this short time we've had together, and I hope I've enlightened you on the awesome power of making real estate loans. If it appeals to you, I can't think of a better time to get started than right now. While most people are complaining about the low rates that they're getting on CDs and other low-paying investments, you could be receiving 10% or more, and that's all the time, not just when you have a hot stock. So what's it going to be? Are you going to continue to let other people control your money so you can get a return that barely keeps up with inflation? Or are you going to take control and make sure that when you get ready to retire, you can do what you want without worrying about money? Mortgage lending is an incredible way to build wealth in a hurry that most people aren't even aware exists. Well, you're not one of those people anymore. If you like what you've heard and want to get notified when we have new private loans available, simply click the button below this video and fill out the form. There's no obligation and no commitment to fill out this form. You are simply requesting more information about private mortgage investing. You have nothing to lose and a lot to gain. If you have questions, click the button below, fill out the form, and put your questions in the comment section, and we'll call you to discuss. I look forward to working with you to help you grow your retirement account. Go for it, and happy lending.